there was a little bit of pop, I guess I'll say, with the Deshaun Watson story. You saw something going on Twitter, did you not?
Yeah, so a person, a random fan, I should say, tweeted at Deshaun Watson and was like, "Yo, I've drafted you every year. You're my boy. I love you. Are you going to play this year? I need to know for fantasy. Like this tweet if you're going to play." Deshaun Watson liked the tweet. So some are saying that that could be used as like his first public statement since these accusations came out in early March. I don't know. I think it's interesting. He has been posting workout videos on Twitter, or he has been posting workout videos on Instagram. He's been working out with other quarterbacks. And I truly do think he wants to play. He just doesn't want to play for the Texans. And I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on the situation that I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on. If you don't mind me rambling for a minute or two here.
No, go ahead, man. I'm interested
The,
in your thoughts on this.
these are all questions that I have, and I just want you to answer these
Okay.
questions. All right. So, first off, can the NFL actually like suspend him? Legal depositions won't happen until after the season ends, and his investigations are still open, but we haven't heard anything in months, right? And it's a civil case. Watson has not been charged criminally yet. That means just they are suing him, if you don't know what a civil case means. They are suing him for money for what he did to the accusers, right? This goes into my first point. If the police don't take action, will the NFL? And does this set like a bad precedent for the NFL? Assuming he's guilty, that would be the NFL suspending him without the investigations concluding, without the evidence being presented in front of a court or in front of attorneys or whatnot. Is it a bad precedent for the NFL to suspend him and assume that he's guilty and take action based on that assumption? Is this another Tyreek Hill situation? Legal trouble, speculation on whether or not he's going to play. His ADP tanks. He ends up playing the whole season. This happened, 2 years ago, 3 years ago now? And then obviously you have quite a few teams that are willing to deal for Watson. We have the Dolphins, rumored to be still interested in Watson. We have the Eagles, rumored to be interested in Watson. We have the Broncos that have expressed interest in Watson. Adam Schefter mentioned the Eagles' interest on the podcast last week. Ian Rappaport said that he could definitely see Watson play in 2021. I don't know. I just have a lot of thoughts, and those are kind of like the sum of my thoughts. And I don't know. I'm starting to come around to the fact that he can play in 2021. I just think if he doesn't play, it's because he doesn't want to play for the Texans, not because of the legal situation.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't really know how the legal situation is going to play out. I don't think anybody does. As far as what the NFL is going to do, your guess is as good as mine, man. I mean, the NFL it's not like they're like the moral high ground of like society. So like, would it surprise me if they let this slide? Like, no, there's been crazy things that the NFL has let go in the past. I know that this is different, especially from a PR angle. I think it would be hard for them to like, let Watson continue to play with what he's been accused of in like today's society. It's just that would be a conversation I don't think the NFL wants to perpetuate. But even still, Watson is a young star. He's one of the faces of the NFL. And I think that ultimately the NFL would benefit from cleaning up his image. If there's a way that they can assist in that happening, I think that they will. So yeah, to me, I agree with your point. And we talked about this, I think, on our first podcast of this season, that, Watson does not want to play for the Texans. He will not play for the Texans. And that remains one of the biggest issues. Even if the NFL doesn't take action, even if the lawsuits don't, pan out to be anything against Watson, he will not be playing in Houston. So we still need the Texans to be willing to deal him to a different team for that to happen. Now, I want to progress the conversation here. How real do you believe the threat is to quarterbacks that we're presuming to be starters, guys like Jalen Hurts and Tua on these teams that are, interested? Obviously for fantasy, I think the optimal situation would be to go to Denver because we're not drafting any quarterback from Denver as it is. It would elevate all those pass catchers and, without completely ruining the value of Tua or Hurts, especially Jalen Hurts. Like, is it possible that they make this move and just burn all of my Jalen Hurts shares? Because I don't know if I could recover from both that and the Cam Akers situation. I might be bankrupt.
I think it's definitely possible that one of these teams trades for Deshaun Watson. And I think it makes sense, especially if you're the GM of one of those teams, right? We have Jalen Hurts, a guy that they probably shouldn't have drafted in the first place. There, and he wasn't good as a passer last year. I know we love him for fantasy, but that's just due to his rushing upside. So I would 100% be willing to move on from Hurts if I'm, Howie Roseman. And the Dolphins, yeah, you invested an early round pick in Tua, but there is some concerns still about his durability. Suffered what some thought was going to be like a career-ending hip injury in college. Obviously came back. He was all right last season. But, are you passing up on the chance at a top 2 quarterback, top 3 quarterback for Tua Tagovailoa? Absolutely not. We know Deshaun Watson is great. He's done it in the NFL multiple seasons with terrible supporting casts. So if I'm the Dolphins, if I'm the Eagles, I'm making this deal happen no matter what. I don't really care if I'm them. I'm getting Watson on the squad no matter his legal situation. In America, in the United States, you're innocent until you're proven guilty, right? And you can't just assume that he's guilty just because he has accusations against him. You have to let the legal process play out. So until that happens, I don't see how the NFL can suspend him based on accusations and assumptions without any verdict being made. I do think your PR point is probably the reason why a suspension will happen. If it does, is because of the PR around it, especially with the culture of the society that we live in 2021. But I don't know if I'm one of those GMs. I'm making a deal yesterday. I wouldn't care. Like, give me him with his legal troubles. Like, I know these teams are waiting to see what happens, and that's kind of why no trade has happened yet. I think the Texans are just stupid for not trading him. Period. Like, he's not playing for you. He's under contract for a couple years. Like, get whatever you can for him right now at his peak value. Well, he's not at his peak right now, but
I think they're probably, hoping at least that he gets cleared because then he would be back at peak value.
Yes.
Right. Right now they would have to take, pennies on the dollar for Deshaun Watson. God. And if Watson goes to any of those 3 teams you mentioned, Broncos,
they're Super Bowl
Eagles,
contenders.
Or Dolphins.
Well, not the
right?
Eagles. Not the Eagles, but the Dolphins and Broncos are Super Bowl contenders, especially the Broncos. If he goes to the Broncos, I think they become a top 3 team in terms of odds to win the Super Bowl because their defense is stacked, their offense is stacked. They just don't have a quarterback. They're literally the definition of a quarterback away from winning a championship. Period. The Broncos are. Dolphins, they got talent on both sides. They could definitely make a run. The Eagles have the worst roster out of the 3 by far. But Broncos would be, I think, his preferable destination. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I want to go to Denver.
Plus 3,500 to win the Super Bowl, Denver Broncos. You want to throw a little action on that right now in anticipation. Might be the vibes. Same for Miami.
I actually tweeted a couple days ago or like a week ago that I think Deshaun Watson will be traded to the Broncos before the season starts as a bold prediction.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I could definitely see it. And if that's the case, God, plus 3,500, that's...
I mean, that plus 3,500 goes to plus 700 or
Yeah,
plus six,
no,
like
no.
7-1, 6-1, 1,000,000%.
Yup.
Because, like I said, they are loaded on both sides of the ball, besides the most important position, which is why if they don't get a quarterback, they're going to finish under 500. But if they got Watson, they're a 13, 14 win team.